Alright. So, Hunter. Yeah. Hunter's actually got some really good cards this set. I'm actually pretty excited about this. So, Hunting Mastiff. It seems kind of innocuous, but I think this card's like super solid. More so for Dire Frenzy, which we're gonna get to in a second. But like on its own, it's pretty solid. It's just like Hunter kind of lacks AoE. Unleash the Hounds has traditionally been like their answer to that problem. I think this does kind of a similar thing. It's hard to say whether it's worse or better in that regard. It's definitely more expensive and scaled up, but it's better at trading against bigger things. And also you can just play a bunch of beasts onto the board with only committing one card. And then if they have to like commit AoE to clear it, which I think is a really underrated thing. If you can make a massive board with one card as an aggressive deck, like I think this fits in most Hunters, honestly. Most Hunter decks can benefit from this. Because drawn late as an aggressive deck, like you just spend your whole turn playing this and maybe squeeze in your steady shot. And then they have to like Duskbreaker it or something, or they're going to take it just too much damage. And so now they're wasting valuable resources answering just one of your cards. And then in a slower deck, obviously, it's better as removal. So it's very cool, very versatile. It's not like a game-changing card, but it's just a solid, little dude. Rat Trap. 2 mana 6/6s are probably good. The question is, like, how often does this actually go off? My gut says that most decks really just kind of want to play, like, 2 cards a turn for most of the game. And then you have a few big turns where you play, like, 3, 4, 5 things at once. But I feel like by the time you get to that turn, you will have ruled this out. Or you would have ruled out the other secrets and identified that they have a rat trap. By the time you get to the point where you'd want to play 3 cards in a turn anyways, and then you can just choose not to do that. So the question is, like, what is the value of preventing your opponent from doing that? Because we're just going to assume they can figure out that it's a rat trap. So what is the value in stopping them from playing that 3rd card? And that's really hard to say. It depends very much on what the meta is and what the decks in question are. So I don't have the answer to that. I don't have the answers to this. I think the card's really cool, and it's probably really good, but it's also extremely easy to play around. Probably never a 2 of. You probably just slip one of these in your Hunter decks every now and then, try to catch people off guard with it, and just kill them with 6/6s. So it's cool. It's got that like secret, like some secrets are super powerful and just too easy to play around. Like Sacred Trial back in the day, it was just too easy to play around. Yeah, I don't know. Duskhaven Hunter. If this card were a beast, it would be broken. But it's not. So it's okay. 5/2 stealth, super appealing. 2/5 stealth, also pretty good. 2/5s are not that bad. And being a stealth minion, so like the issue of being 2/5s are overstated, right? But the issue is that they're overstated in a way that they're still kind of easy to value trade into. So having stealth on a 2/5, I assume, means that you can make favorable trades first to get more value out of being overstated instead of just it not being that relevant. I feel like Hunter has better 3-drops available than that now. It's like, if you're going for that style of plan, why wouldn't you just play a Cave Hydra, which incidentally can be buffed by Houndmaster, And if you're going the aggressive line, why wouldn't you just play Jungle Panther, which incidentally could be buffed by Houndmaster? So basically, if you're... Oh, the the other video, that might have been really loud, I'm sorry. The other video just finished. Scared the shit out of me, I didn't know what that was. The takeaway point is if you're playing a 3-drop in Hunter, it should synergize with Houndmaster, because Houndmaster on turn 4 is how you win games a lot of the time. Like, it's just free wins. And you want free wins. So you should... I think Duskhaven Hunter is actually pretty good. And if it were neutral, it would probably find a home somewhere. Like, maybe Buff Paladin would like this. I don't know. I think this could have a home. Priest, just having a stealth, high-health minion would be probably pretty happy. But I just think Hunter specifically has better options, and this doesn't lead into Houndmaster, which is kind of your big shining beacon of turn 4. It's really just another argument for getting rid of the classic set and actually rotating it, but I don't know. The card itself is honestly, like, good. This is a good card. I just don't think it'll see any play because of that. But it might. I could be wrong about that one. Okay, Dire Frenzy. This is really exciting. So, give a beast +3/+3, shuffle 3 copies into your deck with +3/+3. So it's long-term value. Putting 3 cards into your deck. I guess 6 if you're running 1, you're probably running 2, right? So playing a 36 card deck means you win fatigue games. That's just what that means. You're almost never going to lose, especially with like Jade out of leave. I guess Dead Man's Hand Warrior can still beat you, but you're going to beat most other people in fatigue, and you're gonna have really big things as you go forward. One really exciting thing people are talking about is this: you can have 2 mana 5/4 Echo Rush, which is just busted. That's just busted. You just make a board of 5/4s, trade down anything your opponent has, and then they have to remove your entire board or they die. That's crazy. That's crazy good. I love it. I really like grindy, mid-rangey hunters. I really like that so much more than aggressive hunters, and I'm hoping this feeds into that. The hero card is already super good. One of the issues I actually found when playing with the hero card is that I'd be putting too much card draw into the deck because it was so important to find it. And then by the time I found it, then whenever I was in a control game, I would actually be losing in fatigue and not be able to capitalize on my busted hero power. So something like Dire Frenzy, just putting more stuff in the deck. Also, it can be used on zombies. That's worth pointing out. Almost every zombie is broken, so you make it even more broken and put 3 copies into the deck. It's really exciting. It's really exciting, honestly. I don't know if it's going to be like a top tier, best constructed deck ever. Like, Q-Block is still really good. Paladins are still really hard to beat in the early game as a hunter. But the Dire Frenzy's got me really excited. And, like, honestly, on the turn you play it, like, the Showstopper's the second effect, but it's basically a Blessing of Kings. Or whatever it is, right? The Paladin 4/4 buff. This is pretty similar, and that card is very strong. Like, 3/3, that's less than 4/4, but it's not that much less. You're still turning whatever you have on the board into a big overstated threat, which can then start making favorable trades or just hitting your opponent in the face. So, like, it's not dead on the turn you play it, and it gives you that late game staying power. This is like a mid-range dream. I'm so excited for this card. I think it's really good. It's really good. It's just really good. Okay, Houndmaster Shah. 4 mana, 3/6. Your other minions have Rush. I don't think you combo this. I think this is kind of something like Fandral, where you just sort of play it, and then they have to kill it. And if they do, you're not too bummed out. But then whenever it sticks, you get to really, like, capitalize off of it. It's instead of synergizing with your choose cards, this synergizes with every single minion in your deck. Rush is just a very powerful ability, and this gives you more of it, and it's a 3/6, which is just premium stats on a 4-drop. There's nothing like... I don't think there's anything noteworthy combo-wise. There might be something. But I think mostly it's just a solid card. If you're playing a mid-range Hunter deck, which is the thing they're pushing, you probably want to find room for this. It's not going to be like a standout card in the deck, but it's a must-kill target. And it's kind of hard to kill. A 3/6 is not the easiest thing. So it's a big must-kill on-curve thing that if they don't kill it, you can snowball the game on the board. And that's cool. So that's cool. Toxmonger's also cool, but not as good. 4 mana, 2/4. Giving 1-drops poisonous is interesting. We actually haven't... Like, poisonous 1-drops haven't seen much use. There was the Cobra in Rogue. Wasn't there another 1-drop with poison? Maybe not. Maybe it was only the Cobra, but the Snake never really did anything. It turns out Poisonous isn't... Like, Poisonous is great, but the problem with Poisonous minions being that small, is that they just die. Like, you look at the Druid hero card, nobody ever picks spiders. There's a few places where you can, but even when you want to, you can't, because they're just so easy to kill. And that's the same is true for most 1-drops. I guess it could be good with, like, Dire Mole, for something that's a little more sturdy, right? The big combo would be Stone Tusk Boar or Elven Archer, to instantly get the effect. And that honestly might be good enough. It'd be a 6-card package, where you have like this 5-mana Assassinate combo that also leaves behind a 2/4. And that's actually... When you get that together, that's actually extremely powerful. So there is some merit to that. It's just like, on its own, this is such a weak card, and on their own, those 1-drops that synergize with it are also really weak cards. Maybe it works. Like, you can look at like Dire Frenzy and Stone Tusk Boar, shuffling a bunch of 1-mana 4/4 chargers into your deck. It's not the worst thing. And it's a beast, so it synergizes with some other stuff. So maybe you can make an argument that like you could jam this together. I definitely think it's worth exploring and seeing if it can come together. It just seems like it takes so much space in a deck for not really that much. Like, you could just put in Hunter's Mark for basically the same kind of effect, right? So I don't see it, but it's very, very cool design. Wing Blast is just super solid. 4 mana deal 4 is fine. We've seen 4 mana deal 4 see play. I mean, this is only to a minion, which makes it notably worse, but they kind of have to do that because it's Hunter. They already fucked up making the hero power, so they got to make these cards a little bit worse. If a minion died, though, it costs 1, and that's crazy. So this is a Soulfire without the discard, which is just like, that's bonkers in terms of board control. So again, this is just like really pushing that mid-range Hunter archetype, which I fucking love. Right, you have stuff on the board, they have stuff on the board, you make a trade, then you can Wing Blast for 1 while developing, and it's just... It's great. Is it a 2 of? I don't know, but it's probably at least like a 1 of in just about any mid-range Hunter. Like, it's just a very solid card. Very solid card. It's got a bit of competition with Flanking Strike. But, I mean, maybe you can just run both. Honestly. Maybe you can just run both. It was very good. Carrion Drake. Let's just assume the effect always triggers. So, it's Myexna for 1 less, and she's a dragon now. Myexna was not that great. Oh, but she's a 3/7 instead of a 2/8, which is notable. Yeah, Myexna was never good, really. It's just too easy to ignore. One thing Carrion Drake has going in his favor is that because it's a 3/7, if they ignore it, like just hitting your opponent in the face for 3 every turn, and you're a hunter, so you're also tapping that button and shooting them, like they'll die quickly if they ignore this. So they kind of have to deal with it. I think is what it's relying on, right? It's like it's a threat they have to deal with, but it's kind of annoying to deal with because all their shit dies in the process. So that's cool. But the effect doesn't always trigger. It does activate dragon triggers. I don't know how relevant that is in Hunter. There's that new 4-drop, which is pretty good, but I think Hunter is better 4-drops. So I don't know. It's an interesting card. I don't think it's good, but it's a scaled up version of an old legendary that can now be a 2 of. So anytime that happens, you kind of have to give it a chance and look at it and be like, all right, maybe this can actually be something. And maybe it can. Vile Brood Skitterer, basically just Assassinate that obeys Taunt. Assassinate is not very good. This obeys Taunt, which makes it worse, so it's not very good. I don't think you play this card in your deck. It is really worth noting, though, that this card makes the Hunter Hero card a bit better. Because you get more Poisonous Beasts and also more Rush Beasts. Which both of those things are very desirable. There's a cat going over here. Both of those things are very desirable. You want your zombies to be able to do things instantly. So having Rush or Charge to instantly swing in with your big overstatted minion. I guess it won't be that overstatted if you're adding 1/3 for 5 mana to it in this case. But you can do something instantly, which is really strong, and it gives you more chances to get Poisonous every time you get Dispatch Coda, which is just a busted combo. One of the best possible zombies combinations, and this gives you more chances at getting it. So I think this is a really good addition to the game, to the class as a whole. I just don't think you ever play it in a deck. It doesn't seem... It's a worse Assassinate, and Hunter is better things than Assassinate. So, Immorus. Very, very cool, big, flashy dragon. 10 mana, 8/8. This is such a Timmy card. You make everything fucking huge. If it was everything in your deck, I think this would be really good. Because it's only in your hand, though, Hunter kind of struggles with card draw. And if you're going that kind of way, you have the hero card anyways. This just makes big stuff, and this you can't hero power with that. So I think you have better options there. If you're just going to make lots of big dudes and grind your opponent out, I don't think Immorus is very good. But if you're looking to combo your opponent out, which is something Hunter doesn't really have as much of an option, but now we have Immorus into a 16/16 King Crush, which is pretty cool. Or more realistically, maybe like Leroy or something. I don't know. You could crunch the numbers and find the optimal. Actually, can we get 15 for 10 mana? Can we find 15? 5 gives us 6. We can get like 9. We do like a Charger, and then we have 2 left over for something like a Bluegill. So that's yeah, that's only 11. So that gives you 22 burst. But that's a 3-card combo then. I don't know. I think the idea is if this sees play, it'll probably be making your charge minions have a lot of attack and then killing your opponent on a following turn. Which, I mean, that's a valid style of play. That's a pretty classic sort of combo approach, and I think that's where Immorus might have a home. I think Hunter can do better things than that, but it's cool. And it's coming to a highlight reel near you. And that sums it up. We'll hit Mage up next.